Hi, if you're watching this, I hope you clicked on it because you're experiencing a miscarriage and management of it with the medication Cytotec, or there's also another medication that I forgot the name of, and I hope you clicked on this for a quick synopsis of my personal experience with it. I miscarried at 6 weeks, we found out at 8, qualifying it as a missed miscarriage, and with me having lupus and that and any sign of infection can cause an inflammatory response, which is the whole basis of lupus, my OB and I decided to medically manage it with Cytotec. My protocol was to insert 4 tablets, which were in the 200 micrograms per tablet intravaginally, and expect to pass it within 10 hours. I inserted it at 1:15, nothing happened until 5. I started cramping. They were really bad cramps, like bad period cramps. I had a heating pad that helped significantly. It was really rough, but I thought I had this. It was gonna be okay. That's how it was explained to me. It would be like the worst period cramps you've ever had, but you should pass it within 4 to 5 hours, and what that tissue would look like grayish, with the placenta being dark red and like all one piece, or should have been, especially with this medication, to expel it all at once. And that would be it. No. My experience was rough. 5 p.m. I had the cramping, but I was managing. I was able to watch some documentary me and my husband were watching. 6 p.m. rolled around and I was in excruciating pain. I was bleeding too much, which for reference is 1 pad per hour for 2 hours. And I was filling up a pad every 30 minutes. And what took us to the ER was the fact that I was inconsolable. I was having labor pains. That's what that was, because period cramps for me have always been just the front abdomen. I've never had period pain that radiated front and back. I was having back pain. I was having everything. And I've never experienced childbirth, but I'm sure it being so rushed and everything that it was awful. We went to the ER because I was lightheaded and I almost passed out. And my husband said I looked the worst I've ever looked in my life, and he doesn't think I'm ugly, but you know, I just look bad. So he took me to the ER and with some fluids and a narcotic pain med, but I still felt pain, but I was coherent enough to have a conversation after that. I mean, I was drugged, but like I could answer questions and not just scream. I passed my pregnancy at the ER, and the PA there, who is a physician's assistant who is managing me, thought that my reaction to that was because I have lupus and my inflammatory response is exponentially worse than the normal woman's. So my experience took me to the ER, and I'm glad I went to the ER because we were able to get help. The pain was managed, and I had confidence knowing I didn't bleed to death or be worried about that. I did feel much better with fluids just because of the blood loss, but I did not need a transfusion or anything. I don't think that's common. I don't think it's so common that there's so much blood loss with administration of this drug that women have to get transfusions or anything, but it is definitely something to be aware of. And if you're anemic, I had a CBC drawn. I had wondered why they had drawn that, but they drew that anticipation of this being the final outcome and decision before the full diagnosis of miscarriage was made. And my hemoglobin was fine, my hematocrit was fine, which those are things that if you're looking at labs, you need to have good values for to not be anemic and be at risk of bleeding out with something that stimulates birth. If you do choose to do that option instead of the natural option, props to you. It is rough. I wish that it had been described to me as a small rush dose of childbirth, because that's what it felt like. My cervix did dilate to about a 1 or a 2. I was on a narcotic at the time that I was told that, so I don't really remember the actual size, but you do dilate and you pass whatever size gestation you missed. They stop growing. So mine was only 6 weeks. I'm sure it would have been much more painful had it had to have been a larger size, because it would have had to dilate more, and there are chances with this medication that it doesn't work. I knew that going in, but I am personally terrified of a D&C just because I've never actually had surgery before, and I'm a nurse, so every time you insert anything like cut or dilate or insert anything, there's always a risk of infection and scarring and blah blah blah. But D&Cs are nothing to be terrified of if you have to have one, because they're safe, they're fine, they're normal, they're much more better of an outcome to do a D&C and not have an infection, an internal infection that goes septic because of a pregnancy that has not passed. That is a risk. After I passed everything, I felt better immediately. The cramping was still uncomfortable and I needed Tylenol and ibuprofen alternating for the day after. It is 2 days past now and I haven't had anything today. I still feel cramps, I still feel a low backache, but that's normal. That's to be expected. I'm experiencing exactly what I should be at this point. My HCG levels had already dropped, half of what they were from one day to the next. I don't know what they will be this upcoming Thursday, which is a week after I passed everything. Hopefully they will be in the hundreds, and the week after that my OB said that they should be as close to 0 as it can be hoped for after 2 weeks. That being said, if you do decide to do the Cytotec, if you're not educated on it, you should have somebody with you. So if you have to go to the ER, you don't have to call 911 and avoid the hospital, the ambulance fee, or have somebody coming into your home you don't know, or you need to have somebody with you in the event of too much bleeding, too much pain, lightheadedness, whatever can go wrong. And it does have its own risks. I mean, you can technically rupture your uterus with this medication. That is not common at all, just as much as it's not common to get an infection from a D&C. It's a miscarriage, there's not really a right way to manage it. It sucks, just point blank. So if you do decide to do that, have somebody with you, hydrate like crazy, take Tylenol and ibuprofen beforehand, take it during. Most women are fine doing that and they pass it at home. Keep a close eye on how much blood you are losing by using maxi pads. 1 full pad per hour for 2 hours is too much, then go to the ER. Eat. I saw some woman go through this and say that she didn't eat beforehand and that she threw up during it. You can throw up. I personally didn't. I didn't really have nausea, but you really do need to eat because this is extremely painful and taxing on your body, and for your body to do this you need energy, you need carbs, you need protein, you need all the macros. So eat and hydrate and take over-the-counter as prescribed. Do not take aspirin because you're already bleeding, and have your support person there the entire time. I didn't fully pass everything until 10 hours after I had taken it. So the first half of it I was fine. It's a lot of waiting, it's a lot of sadness, and I'm so sorry you're in that boat. And afterwards, what really helped me was Propel packets that I've been putting in water to give me some electrolytes. And since I did bleed a bit much, I was already taking a prenatal with iron in it, but my OB told me to take a supplement, like just the lowest, whatever it is, iron supplement for about a week afterwards, just to get my hemoglobin hematocrit back up to a it was already within range, but just back up to my normal range that I normally am at. Have a lot of, if I wasn't able to be at home for a lot of this because I was too much for my body. And, oh yeah, that was helpful. I already had which ER I wanted to go to in case of. And I hope that you are not in the middle of nowhere when you do this. If you are, maybe do it at your mom's house with your mom there who's 5 minutes from the ER, whatever. Take into consideration that you might need to go to the ER. I think I already said everything. Hydrate, over the counter, Tylenol, ibuprofen. It will hurt like a bitch. Sorry. I'm so sorry you're in this boat. You'll probably be fine doing it. I was not. That's just my experience. Now, none of this is medical suggestion. You have to discuss this with your provider. And again, I'm so sorry for your loss. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate afterwards. And if you do this, you feel loads better once everything is passed. And emotionally, you need to take care of yourself. That is what I'm doing. But we will be better. We will get over this, and not get over it. We will do better. I'm so sorry about the loss of your baby, and take care. Mad props to you if you choose Cytotec, but I hope you watch this in full disclosure that it wasn't the best experience for me, but that's not for everyone, and I hope that you have a provider who gives you the options, because there are options if they are safe. Naturally, passing it on your own time, a D&C, which is surgical removal, and then you're just done. Those all come, every single one of these comes with their own pros and cons, and then the medication. In this case, it was Cytotec.